business that's being encroached on by businesses that don't belong here because they took up all your parking, yes, darn those new businesses. Ferndale is landlocked, kids. Unless we're going to take over Oak Park invasively and build parking structures over there in Pleasant Ridge, we can just pave that over and put a greenhouse on top of it and make it good for everybody.
You can always go up.
But is that your planning?
No, I'm just, that was.
No, is that your planning, is that if you're gonna sell the parking lot partially on to support downtown growth, I'm curious what numbers you're using to justify that growth.
Based on the current square footage available in the buildings that we have. That's our deficit with the current
So
square.
it's not growth, it's just to
But
support
we
what
can't
already
grow
exists.
into, there's empty buildings that can't, that are being, that are being ignored or not being filled because there isn't the parking to support a business going in there.
Well, isn't it one of
And
the
that's part of the growth, yes.
Isn't it one of the concerns, one of the reasons we're having trouble building this big Old Navy spot is because a lot of retailers is concerned that they're not going to be able to have the parking to support it. And so
Well,
the
what was
other,
Brian promised here? Just off the, I mean, here he is, you know, and I know across the street, they were gonna have this 3-level parking and stores and all that, and that fell through. So how did he get approved where, I know Georgie wanted to do something, or somebody wanted to do something at the White Heather? They couldn't do it.
That's a great example. Somebody wanted to do something somewhere, and they didn't.
No, the White Heather Club.
I know, but I can't tell you why nothing happened there and something happened here.
Because they couldn't show that they had enough. Tony's another one. I'll lay it right out. I mean, Tony's Bar,
Yeah,
he was denied.
have not applied for a site plan approval.
Oh, this was years ago.
But this,
Yeah.
you have to take
Years
the
ago, before
zoning.
you got here, he did that.
They-
Zoning has a lot to do with that, why someone may or may not be
Right,
denied.
so what was the answer to Brian? So what was he
He's
told
in
or
the
what?
central business district, he
Uh-huh.
does not have to provide for parking. The only parking he needed to either provide or pay for was the ones that he removed by putting in the cafe on the parking lot that he removed. So that was why,
Yeah.
when the DDA looked at this, was one of the recommendations coming out is that any then intensification of use within the central business district zoning area, then they would pay into the fund. Because currently in the zoning, they don't have to provide for any additional parking.
Now, getting back to the shuttle, so what do you mean it didn't work? I mean, I used to work at Hudson's and during Christmas, I mean, you had to take the shuttle.
The way it didn't work
What about
is,
Comel's and Roses?
the way it didn't work is, we had, we negotiated with Night Moves, which is a shuttle that takes people from downtown to Birmingham, and like basically almost at its cost, and to get a good price. And then we went to the bars and restaurants in the area and said, we need 150 participants a night.
Yeah.
150 participants a night, meaning your employees. We had secured some parking lots that, in churches, et cetera, that we could use. And we were coming up with a plan, but the first thing we had to get is the buy-in from the restaurants. And they really needed to insist that their employees use this and help us with that. And we did not get, there was no cooperation. And one of the reasons why is it was cheaper.
I just want to stop you. There was cooperation.
I mean,
We just
there
didn't
was.
have enough.
We didn't have enough, yes, there wasn't the full cooperation that we needed. Thank you very much for correcting
There
us.
was cooperation.
There was cooperation,
In
not.
fact, one of them was Brian Kramer from
Yes.
this
Yeah, doesn't he have
restaurant.
90
He
employees
has
or
been
something?
supportive, in
Yeah.
fact,
You-
instituted getting
Yeah.
this committee started
Yes.
because he's concerned about parking and he's concerned about the residents.
Thank you for correcting me, Jerome, you're
Yes.
absolutely correct. It was the last bit of the filling in the remainder to get to the 150. And at no fault of any restaurant owner or any employee or anything like that, it was just seemed really inconvenient and way too expensive. And, I mean.
And it was cheaper to get a ticket.
To get a ticket.
That's the bottom line.
than
It's cheaper to get a
participate
ticket. So
in a
would you
shuttle
park
program.
out front and get a ticket knowing that it would be less expensive than riding the shuttle and go to the church down the road?
It's about the
What do you
money.
expect?
Paid the
about
ticket,
the
then
money.
that would go into the parking spot.
No, it doesn't. It does not go to
It
the
does
parking
not.
lot.
So it's a big shift. I mean, there's employees who have thousands of dollars of parking tickets that they can't afford to pay. This is something I've heard from restaurant employees and other employees. They've got thousands of dollars in parking tickets they can't afford to pay, but they can't afford to pay for parking. But they don't want to park in the neighborhoods because the residents are coming out with pitchforks, and so I mean, sometimes I actually had someone I interviewed before I won my wonderful Walter, who runs my store, that said, I can't. Are you going to pay for my parking? If you're not going to pay for my parking, I'm not going to work here.
Yeah.
I just want to add to that, and you say that we have to change the thinking of people and they have to maybe walk a little bit farther. We also own a business downtown Detroit. We buy 2 parking spots. We pay $120 a month for parking. You work it into the expense of doing business. It's reality. People are so used to not having to deal with city expenses, it's kind of scary. You have to get out and see what other people are really paying. We pay $120 a month for parking in downtown Detroit. And let me just tell you, Detroit is not Chicago. You know? But I mean, it's reality. It's right in our neighborhoods. It's just outside our boundaries. People are so concerned that people can't pay for parking. It's a cost of doing business.
You're right, and one of the concerns that the DDA has is that the business owners are paying for parking passes, they're paying for parking for their own business, and then if we pass an additional special assessment that the business owners have to pay, now we're paying twice for the same thing, and there's a concern. I mean, there's a cost of doing business and there's a cost of running business out of town. So, and that's why this plan has to be careful.
You know, and what is a parking pass doing for shortage of parking? It's not helping. It's the same thing, it's really not doing anything. We're still got a shortage.
We're getting pretty late, and I know some people have already snuck out the room, so we have time maybe for one more question or comment, and then we're going to dismiss.
And we're gonna meet again.
Wednesday.
Wednesday morning, 9.
I know that there's some, you ladies are residents, right? Yeah, there's been some concerns from residents. I don't think unlimited parking is going to change human behavior. I think when someone decides, well, I'm from the burbs or my car costs 40 grand, I'm going to park where I want, they're going to do that anyway. And answering the gentleman that left, Mr. Bruner, this City of Ferndale Police Department requires you to post a you will be towed sign on private property. I'm able to tow someone from behind my store, I'm not able to ticket them. I would rather give them a ticket, but there's been cars abandoned behind my store overnight. I don't know they're even coming back. They're going to block me, they're going to block the landlord. I can't ticket them. And when cars have been left there, there have been plenty of spaces. It's not like they were forced to do that. When people make the decision to get drunk or whatever motivates them to park in front of your houses and abandon their vehicle, I don't think it's because they have lack of parking someplace else. They just feel like I can do what I want, and the consequences are very minimal. So that might be a separate issue that could be addressed through the police department or changing the perception of the ways that we ticket people who make decisions to leave their cars and block driveways and things like that. Maybe it's an immediate tow within an hour or something.
Great idea.
I just wanted to ask Mr. Bruner, he brought up a good point, a real good point. In the ordinance for the parking of Ferndale, is there a toll clause? You know, I mean, you post signs up there, can't park here, and I see a lot of signs that say, well, it will be towed. Now that, of course, can be revisited by council and the city attorney to put that in the ordinance. Because, you know, I hear a lot from the residents, and I really feel bad for them. I mean, I'm a business owner here, and I care about my clients, but the people of Ferndale, the residents, are the ones that help build this thing.
Yeah, then let me be clear. I'm not trying to distance myself from the Ferndale Police Department. I just want you all to recognize that they don't work for me. They don't report to me. The police chief reports directly to the city council, same as I do. So I don't know how cop stuff works. It's not something I'm involved with, but I think you have at least one council member who's here and will probably take that back and talk to the police department about that and see if there's something that we can do differently, and I'll be happy to help facilitate that. I just don't want to create the expectation that the city manager is going to go and solve this particular problem, because it's not within my power to do.
Veronica?
Just to direct about Wales parking lot. Actually, you can go